And just like that, here we are, season 3, episode 10, Better Than Sex, my part 2 of 2 review. Part 1 has already been posted as of yesterday. I do apologize for the delay. I had to re-record it because, as we all now know, the show has been canceled. So, and for all the lovely viewers who had actually brought that up to me, because I didn't know that. Again, when I go into the recording and then I start editing, I really, really focus and I don't pay attention to much of the content. So then on top of that, editing does take a while. I don't know why. I know why, but it does. So that's why I do this in many parts. When you see me like leaning over, it's because I stop the recording so I can upload. Because if I do a longer session in any of my parts, it takes longer to upload and then longer to edit. So I do apologize. And then on top of that, for some forsaken reason, I couldn't download the file on my Chromebook. It had too much storage. So I had to, IT myself. So long story short, it was very, very delayed. I stayed up until about 11 o'clock last night. It is Sunday morning. I'm recording this. I am exhausted and I want to get through this as quickly as possible for you so I can get it edited today and uploaded today so we can do part 2. So I hope that makes sense. I do apologize for the delay. I hope you enjoyed that video. It came from the heart, though this show has no heart. And as you notice, my wall, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I think I am because of the show's canceled. So I might toggle between another catchphrase, but I saw that and I was like, yeah, that pretty much rounds out how we all feel about this. So part 2. This is different because normally I do part 1 and I take care of the honorable mentions and the 2 ding-dongs, leaving Carrie to have her part 2 event. Yesterday's video was part 1 and it was all about Carrie and humping the hobbit. Yeah, baby. I told you so. So now let's get into part 2 and we're going to break it up like I normally do, which is the honorable mentions and then the 2 remaining ding-dongs, which is Miranda and Charlotte. So let's get into the honorable mentions. Anthony. I don't even know. I had to really, really think hard how I was going to present this visually because there were some things in there that obviously, restrictions, you can't. So we have the scene with him and Bread Boy having their relations, in bed. And there is a knock on the door, a very loud knock on the door. It scared the hell out of me when I heard it. And Anthony gets up and we get to see a back version of his buttocks, which I've seen before. Sure, it's great, And as he's for a man that age, it looks good. So as he's walking towards the door to find out who's knocking on the door, Bread Boy tells him, don't go answer the door with your heart on. I think it's safe to say that. And then you see Anthony trying to calm his boy down, which was kind of funny in its own way, but I can't show it. As he reaches the door, he opens up the door and there's a hot fireman for him, I guess. I didn't really get to see much of him. And we don't even see him closing the door. We just see him walking back into the bedroom where Bread Boy is. And he tells Bread Boy that they need to go to a hotel because apparently one of the neighbors was trying to put up a television, I believe, and they punctured a hole in one of the gas lines in the wall and they need to evacuate the building. I don't know if I've ever heard of that being in New York. It's maybe possible. I don't know if they were drilling a hole or putting a body. It seems very extreme. And only because if that's the case, many other places in New York would have the same problem. So it's plausible. I don't know if it's plausible. So Bread Boy tells him, no, we don't have to go to a hotel. We can go to my place. And Anthony hesitates and Bread Boy calls him Tony. He goes, hello. And he goes, no, I heard you. I just was regretting this day. He never really wanted to go to his apartment. Great. So I guess he kind of doesn't know what the living situation is for Bread Boy because he asks, how many roommates do you have? And he says, no, I just have one roommate who works the night shift at Whole Foods. Okay, great. And Anthony's reaction was like, I guess I will have to go and get my Wham records because he lives on the Upper East Side. No, Upper West Side. I don't know how upper that is, but it's pretty nice. Again, they don't really give you much clarity. They just throw things at you. Okay. So my only question is, where is Anthony living? Because if I recall, he was with Stanford, the one that is a monk and is never going to be seen or heard of again because he gave all his belongings to Anthony, but the actor has actually passed away, Willie Garson. So we're never going to wrap that up other than the fact that he has disappeared and he's become a monk somewhere I don't even remember. So I do recall Stanford having a place and I thought they were living together. It was a lot more grandiose than where Anthony's living. I am just going to make this up because we never really get any tie-in or clarity. And since the showrunners and the writers don't write a story, I'm just going to make up a story for myself because what the hell else do I got to do? I am presuming that when he gave him all his personal belongings, Anthony sold it, and that's how he was able to buy the hot fellas. I'm just going to go with that. Or he's sitting on a boatload of money and we don't even know it. Because something is off. And I can't find out where it is because where Anthony is living is not that great. I mean, it's not ugly. Maybe if he decorated it. Don't get Carrie. No. Don't use her. I really don't know who's home because I don't like Charlotte's. I don't like Miranda. Miranda's good. I mean, but she brought the furniture. Seema, we only have seen her bedroom. Does she have another room? I've never even seen a kitchen. I've seen her coming out of a bathroom. I've seen her in the bathroom. I don't know if she has a studio apartment that doesn't have a kitchen facility. I don't recall that. So I don't know who on the team I actually like. You would think I would like Charlotte, and I don't like, what's her name? LTWs. This not, I'm very finicky. They just look too bland, too perfect, too much. I would like Carrie's apartment, but I don't like Carrie. And it's not an apartment, it's a mansion. And she hasn't really decorated, though she got a lamp and some furniture. No, it's just that I don't like Carrie. That's it. That's my truth. That's my me. Can you see me? Oh my God. Did you see my video about her? Oh my God. Ah! Ooh, child. Let me not focus on this bruja fea because I can go on another hour rant on her. And I won't subject all of us to that again. So, I just don't get where Anthony's living. I don't understand what's happening there. So the next scene we have is Anthony and Bread Boy in his Bread Boy's apartment, I presume, and he's in the bedroom. And the roommate comes in and he walks right into the bedroom. I don't get the logistics of this. When I go visit my son, when I visit anybody, we lock rooms. Not lock rooms, but we knock on the door. He just tramples right in. And what is this? What is happening here? Do you see this? This old roommate has created a marionette puppet of Bread Boy. And parts. And he walks in to show Bread Boy and he realizes that Bread Boy is in with Anthony and he scuffles his way back out, apologizing that he didn't realize somebody was in the room. What, are you blind? Obviously you're not blind because could see very clearly. What you doing? You freak. Okay, so let's start with that. Anthony gets up and he's like, who the F was that? And I believe that Anthony has the best lines in this entire series. Okay. He goes off on Bread Boy. He goes, who's that? Why is he he goes, I thought that this guy worked at Whole Foods. I didn't think it was Old Foods. Bread Boy tells him that he's a sweet old man and that he met him in something. I can't even think because this whole thing is just so ridiculous. Hold on. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. He says that he met him as he had a table, I believe in Strawberry Fields, and they became roommates, and he's an entertainer. Anthony loses it. He goes, stop saying he's an entertainer. And he goes, Bread Boy tells him, Andrew is going to hear you. And he says, do you mean Giuseppe? Which is hilarious. I'm not looking because I'm rethinking this, so give me a minute. Anthony says that, why does that marionette puppet look exactly like you? And he says that he recreates these puppets and that he is his muse. Anthony has an attack and he says, I'm going to swallow my tongue. And that guy is into you, or he wants you into him. And Bread Boy looks at him like, no, what you say? That's not possible. He doesn't say it, but that's his look, like, no, you're so wrong. Wow. To be young and dumb. Y'all see that, right? Like, even if you were at that age, that doesn't look normal, right? With the big hanging penis. The next scene you have with Anthony and Bread Boy, they're in the apartment again. I guess it's more than just a night that he had to stay there. That must have been one hell of a puncture in the gas line and one hell of a television. And and Bread Boy tells him that he will not find him being himself, hanging from the rafters through his nipples, in the sense that he's trying to tell him that he wants Anthony to stop complaining about his asexual roommate, that he's not a threat, that he's not going to kill him. And Anthony is like, yeah, I don't believe you. That's the New Yorker in him. Thank you. And he tells him that, how would you like a sexual roommate? And he invites Bread Boy to move in with him. And Bread Boy looks at him kindly and he says, oh, that's sweet. Not right now. I don't want to move things too fast. So I'm going to make this comment. How old do you think Anthony is? Remember, he's negotiating his age, and his best and final is 62. Why does this show continuously act as if everybody has all the time in the world for everything? Obviously, Giuseppe, which is his real, I don't remember his real name. I've been calling him Bread Boy. I feel like that's not his real name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dear God. So Bread Boy says, I have to go utilize the bathroom. And as he's walking out of the bedroom, he walks past the hallway where his asexual roommate, who's 400 years old, is manipulating the marionette of Bread Boy. Vigorously. And as Bread Boy realizes what's happening, and he realizes that he is manipulating the marionette, who happens to look like him, he freaks out and he runs back to Anthony and he says, yep, let's move in. Great idea. Can we go today? He didn't say that, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And Anthony's like, oh, really? If Anthony only knew why, he would have taken that marionette, penis and all, wrapped it around Old Foods, and strung him by his nipples. And would have done it with glee. And he would have told Red Boy, I told you so. Don't mess with me. I wish that would have happened. It would have been, this scene was funny, but that would have been a great ending too. Though he would have been in jail, but I guess we can't, there's still time. I mean, since the show is ending, c'est la vie, anything's possible. I'm throwing everything at the wall. We don't know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's the way the story goes for them, and we never see them again. So we have Bread Boy moving in with Anthony because the manipulating Mariette Old Food roommate, and that's it. And they're going to live happily ever after. The end. Subscribe. Okay. So let's get into the next honorable mention. Oh, dear Lord. LTW. So I don't know what's happening, only because we don't know what's happening, and they never really tell us what's happening. So we have the first opening scene with her, and she is in her bedroom, which is normally where she is, and she's got a hamster on her desk because her daughter told her that the hamster misses her and she's never around. So she's giving the hamster some TLC from LTW. Her husband walks in, wants to know what the animal's doing in the room or the cage or whatever. And LTW looks at Herbert and says, well, because of my daughter thinks that it is lonely, transference here. I'm glad she is self-aware that she's never there and that I'm not trying to rhyme. I promise you that they're late to some campaign, the Phantom Invisible campaign that Herbert is in for city comptroller. You know that one, right? The one that we never saw or see or anything? The invisible one. What? There's no campaign like that? Anywhere? So she has to catch a flight to DC to talk about her 1,000-year journey book, which we are still dealing with. This thing is never going to end. And when the show's ending, unless there's an actual book on a bookshelf, it's never going to end. That's how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? So she makes a comment and they hug it out and he wants to get in her and she doesn't think it's going to fit. Literally, this is the conversation, and they leave. The next thing you have with LTW is now she's still back in her bedroom. Her daughter is rummaging through her closet and her drawers because her daughter let out the hamster for a walk. In the house because it was lonely and it missed its LTW. And LTW flips out on her daughter. She actually yells and she says, now I have an animal or rodent in my house and it could die. And I'm so angry. And she's screaming. And the mother-in-law comes in, another fantastic person, and tells LTW, I can't believe this is the way you speak to your children. I'm not surprised. And Herbert comes in and the mother-in-law says, good luck with mommy dearest. And then LTW has a breakdown because she yelled at her daughter and she's been so tired and all she does is work and all she does is think about marrying the married, and that's not really work. And she's not telling Herbert this, but she's making it seem like she's so important, so busy. Everything affects her. And Herbert, ever the consummate idiot, oh, you're not going to be a super mom today, and that's not all you do. No, that is not all she does because you don't know who she wants to do. And he's like, you're human. You're human. You're rich. And none of this should be happening. You should have finished that damn book 8 years ago or 1,000 years ago. You should have help in the house, which I believe they do. And you should be focusing on other things than other manly parts that are not your husband. She's put herself in this position. Sorry. And I don't even know what the position is because they really don't give us much context. So as he tells her she's human, the next scene we have with them is, hey, it's election day. The ballots are coming in. We're finally going to see what's happening. We're going to go out. They're all dressed up. The mother-in-law is there. You have LTW in a white ensemble, which for her, it's really decent, excluding the Wilma Flintstone pearls, which is actually Wilma Flintstone's fancy pearls. Okay. I could have done away with that or make it a little smaller, but I can't be picky. At least she looks together. So let's give her credit where credit is due. They're all walking. Oh, and Herbert Jr.'s here too. The third son that all the kids are there. So I guess they had enough money in the budget for now all the children to be together because they're going to go and they're going to look and hope that their father's going to win because he is 5% above something that they said above the, oh crap. I'm sorry, I forgot the terminology and I should know this because I follow elections. Basically, he should be in the winning circle. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Let's go into the elevator. They're going in. I'm with you. I am so excited. Herbert. And then they come out of the elevator and he lost. And we don't see nothing. As fast and as invisible as his entire campaign has been, is as fast and ridiculous it ended. We went from Herbert to Fugly Face. He lost. And not only did he lose, let's be clear, he lost because the working public voted another way, and mother-in-law says, I don't give a furry rat's behind about the working public. You see? This is rich people talk. These are rich people problems. We know be rich. I know be rich. And she tells her son, how did you enter a campaign without knowing for sure that you were going to win? Wow. And as that happens, Wilma Flintstone tells her husband that everything's going to be okay and that you're human, the same way that he tried to care for her. She turns around and says the same thing to him because he's very upset, because not only is he upset for his invisible phantom campaign that I guess was invisible phantom ballots, he lost this. And so that's it. We're never going to see anything. It's never going to affect the family. We're going to go maybe back to what is going on with LTW's life and her affair. Maybe. Or this could be it. This is it. This is life. I'm not going to sing. Sorry. I'm going to try not to sing. And they close the door and that's it. That's LTW's story. It's almost over. But you and I? Ooh. You know who said that? Carrie to Aiden when he was leaving after the 5-year SNAP plan and he was leaving the townhouse. I don't want to bad juju this. So I'm going to say it in a different phrase. This community will not be over. Remember, I'm transitioning. into a new life. And my intention is to go hard on this channel. I am not going to overdo it because also, people get tired of people. Shit, I get tired of me. I can't even handle me sometimes. I think I'm too much. But I love myself every day. I wake up blessed, happy, back pain, yes. A little scared about my appointment for my MRI this week. But I'm good. It's like what I told you. My soul is good. So never finito. Okay? So let's get into the next scene, which is Seema and Adam the arm pick digger. Ready? Okay. Stay tuned.